Hey everyone, welcome to CKOs SHINIES, and today we're going to go over some speculation happening in Tales of Aria, Flesh and Blood, release coming out September 24th. I've been seeing some really cool speculation videos, some ideas of what the set's going to include, what type of heroes, what kind of heroes, everything about it. And I watched an interesting video on Kitchen Table TCG about what's in the pack. And I'll have the link below in the description for you guys to check it out. I thought it was a very good brainstorming speculation of what can we see when we open up a pack of Tales of Aria when it comes out. And I'd already been doing some guessing on my own, just looking at some of the artwork that um, LSS has recently came out with when they announced the release date and the information on what's going to be included on everything. So basically, this video is pure speculation. It's just some ideas and thoughts that maybe you have had as well, and maybe you haven't, and some things that I am going to point out in some of the pictures that they provided that I thought was pretty interesting. That I'll go over to see what your thoughts are, and please don't be shy. Give me some comments below. Let's talk more about this and see, um, you know, what you guys think, if you agree on some of it, and what you disagree on as well. So let's get right into it. Obviously, Flesh and Blood, Tales of Aria, releasing September 24th here. And the first thing I wanted to point out is this big tree right here. The tree itself is what I suspect could be a similar fabled card as how um, the library was in Monarch. So the library became the first fable to really have a place instead of an item, and so I think they really, with them showcasing this tree, I think this begins to set up um, the type of Fable card for another location Fable, potentially for this set. Um, Now, I'm not sure if you can see, probably can't see my mouse, but let's get into it. I'll try to point these out as best as possible um, because I don't think I have my mouse shown right now. So the next thing I wanted to go over, and of course, give me your thoughts on any of this at any point during the comments. Like I said, if you have a totally different idea of, like, the Fable card, for instance, not being a location, maybe being a piece of equipment, or maybe being another stone or gem, I should say. Um, yeah, definitely say something in the comments. So this is a picture of one of the documents, again showing the tree here on this. And I know you can see my mouse here. I'm actually window screening this, but the tree, they're bringing the tree back up, and now we're in a different view of it. Um, and you can actually see how grand this tree is. I mean, there's, a village or a city that's being built on it. Um, and I apologize if any of you lore guys or girls out there are going, "Oh no, that's such and such city." I apologize. I have not read into the lore at all. This is just me going off of basically just first looks and impressions. But the one thing I did want to point out, and actually what I'll do is, before I point this one out, I am going to bring up get rid of this for a second. I am going to bring up the booster box. Let's start here before I get any further on that. The booster box, I think, art wise, is fantastic. I love what looks like Celtic designs to me. Um, you know, obviously they may not be, um, but to me they look like Celtic designs, and um, or at least the idea of presence of that. Now, obviously, Celtic designs are probably a little bit different. Like this kind of reminds me of the triad symbol. But as a lot of you have probably already noticed, is the center symbol right here on right under the logo. The red, blue, and green. And I come from a gaming world. As soon as I saw this, I instantly thought um, elements. Fire, water, earth. Now, obviously, that may not be the case, um, or they would be potentially different elements or have nothing to do with elements. But that was my first guess. As soon as I saw this, I didn't even see anything else. I just had seen the booster box. I thought, ooh, we're going to have an elemental set, potentially. What does that mean? Ideally, if it is correct, if fire, water, earth, which honestly, we'll get more into the blue. I don't think blue is water. We'll talk about that in a bit. And I don't think fire is fire. I don't think the red is fire. We'll talk about that as well in a bit as well. But as far as the symbols, they made it very clear that the three are almost circling each other, are combining almost. As the guys in Kitchen Table TCG's video stated, they're I totally forgot the word. Da, 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 da. Flowing. That's the word. Sorry. Um, Obviously, this will be an unedited, unscripted video. Flowing. So there, kind of almost looks like it's flowing clockwise, and then you have what they call the pivot point in the center, which clearly has all three colors in it. And then it kind of branches out and goes almost in a clockwise or counterclockwise direction, or at least points counterclockwise as well, which could symbolize a unity of all three elements or colors at least. And what I also thought, which may mean something, may not mean something, I've seen it in other games as well, at least video games, is if you notice the in the pivot area, you have the colors, the red, the blue, the green. But the pivot is situated in a way that it allows the blue to be between the red and the blue, the red to be between red and green, and then the green between green and blue. So what's that mean? Again, speculating here. Um, there was an idea that the heroes might be able to choose any of the elements. If that could be, that could be true. If it happens that way, my speculation is if we're getting into super details here, which obviously may be too deep, but if the colors are as is, then you could speculate that if you say choose the fire color, you could only be fire and earth, or red and green. If you choose say green, you can only be green or blue elements, and if you're blue, you can only be blue and red. Now that may not hold a lot of ground because the trinity of all three colors, even in that, you could argue, well, greens with um, blue and red. If red's with green, then essentially the reverse should be the same. So the pivot point could also just mean, or the pivotal icon there in the center could just mean that all three of those elements, or abilities, or whatever they're going to be, talents, um, could just be working with each other, really. But I wanted to point that out. Obviously, that is, I mean, you put it on the booster box. That's definitely saying something to what is going to be in this box. And we know that the set is going to be drafting like none other as well. So that's always a interesting thought there. So let's get off the booster box here. So we're talking about, I'm talking about like fire, water, earth, and the earth, I think, is earth, some sort of elemental, forest, or in magic terms. Apologize for saying the bad word on the video, but what is the other element? Really, earth is really all I can think of. Nature. That's what I'm looking for. Nature. Um, you have this nature, earthy type color, and then the blue. I originally thought was water, but as it turns out, as we'll go over here in a bit, that's definitely probably going to be frost or ice. And then the red, I initially thought might have been fire, um, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that is probably going to be lightning. Now, lightning, you think, oh, that should be yellow. But we'll get into why I think it's lightning, and or at least one of the elements. And we're going to keep talking about elements here, and why I think the heroes will be elemental heroes. And there was some speculation again on the kitchen table TCG video that I watched, that the heroes would be able to use any of the elements. And I will give my reasoning on why I think this is probably the correct way that LSS has probably made this set. So what we're going to open up first, we're going to go back to, actually we're going to open up the young Lexi Blitz Deck picture that LSS sent out. So instantly, we already know there's going to be a Ranger class, obviously with the bow, and a few things that I wanted to point out here that has also been pointed out is the scenery itself in the picture is snowy. Then you have Lexi's hair. It's white with a little bit of purples, blues, green at the very tip. And then she's holding what looks like, to me, like a crystal bow or an ice bow, if we're keeping the theme of ice. And we know this is her young form because the Blitz Deck. I also want you guys to pay attention to the Blitz Deck ring. Now, I do know that the URL used for this photo and all the other photos are labeled as mock photos. So the picture of Lexi on this could just be put on any of the ring that's around her. But I do want you guys just to focus on that for a little bit and just pay attention to what ring that is, which makes things interesting when we bring up the the deck boxes here soon. But we definitely have this snowy theme going on. Excuse me. This snowy theme going on, and what would make me think that that blue color would be an ice type. Now, do I think it's she's specifically ice? No, I think this is one of the versions of Lexi um, that you would play. Again, going back to the idea of all the heroes, which there's speculation of at least 3 heroes, Lexi being one of them, um, that the 3 heroes would be um, elemental heroes. Now, could each hero have a primary elemental, and then you could pick a secondary elemental from one of the other colors? Very possible, definitely. And apologize if you can hear the dogs in the background barking, but that's also another idea, and that could go back to where I was saying in the pivot point of the circle of the booster box with the 3 colors, where you have your primary, which would be red, blue, or green, and then you can have a secondary um, elemental type that you could choose, but you couldn't be all 3. You would have to go one way or the other. You can be primary green, if you're nature, and then you can pick nature frost or nature lightning is what I'm going to call it because of what I think. So that's what I wanted to point out in the Blitz deck is just how Lexi looks, how her hair is. We're going to look at the adult version here in a second, pick some things out in the adult version. But again, focus on that ring. Pay attention to the way the symbols are around her, because this could reflect something totally different that I will uh, bring up when we bring up the booster box. And right now, if you look at it, it kind of looks leafy, viney, kind of naturey to me, in my opinion. So let's get off her. And let's move to adult Lexi. So obviously, there's lots of stuff going on here. Adult Lexi is totally, completely different. So again, we have this nature vibe from her. Her clothes just look like leaves, like a flower. Her hair has turned green, and this is why I was thinking potentially that Lexi's primary attribute as an elemental would be nature. Um, and you could have a double talent. So the heroes would be essentially classed as elemental hero, nature, or maybe like nature Lexi elemental, and so something like that. I don't know, or nature elemental, and then because it's an elemental, you could actually choose another element, something like that. But anywho, adult Lexi, very nature looking right off the bat. Green hair. You could tell right away that the bow has what looks like lightning bolts around it, or at least lightning sparks, or sparks. And that could also signify um, about the double elemental attribute, to be able to pick maybe more than one. You have your primary and your secondary, or it could just be potentially an effect of the bow. It could be a bow weapon, a majestic weapon that's coming out, or a legendary weapon that's coming out, and that could just be a hint to that. Again, we have the same ring around her in the booster pack. It's still that naturey, viney ring. And also, I'm going to pull up side by side view here. So if we look at the other picture, basically is this the art picture of her without the booster pack. Obviously, we get a much brighter and ranger range of what she looks like. You can definitely tell the bow has some sort of lightning attribute to it, which I think is really cool. And then we get a better look at her bracers and her feet, which look very, very icy to me, crystallized. Almost similar in a way to, ice shards. Could that just be potentially um, just showing that you can choose either path? Obviously, in the picture, if you can only choose two, then it would be probably nature and lightning, and then maybe the boots would just be a special equipment, like an elemental item, like frost boots or something like that. That have a high defense rating. Um, or you can go back and maybe the bow's the weapon, and she's nature and frost. Something. But I just wanted to bring that up because I noticed that when you go into the art forum, um, her gear, aside from her dress part, is very icy looking, crystallized looking as well. And then, of course, her bow is has that lightning effect. Also, in the background, you can kind of see like the Northern Lights type art where it's green. We'll talk about a little bit more about that. And also, I just want to say the art in this set. I am probably going to just say it now. I'm wrong if I'm wrong, but this will probably be the best artwork, and it might not be as gory as some of the earlier sets, but I think the artwork is going to be phenomenal on this. So that's some things I want to point out. Just wanted to point out her gear, how she transformed from young to old. How she looks definitely a lot more naturey, and then has those other elemental attributes for her weapon and gear. And actually, that might be another way to think of it. Now I'm talking about this out loud. Is you might have a primary elemental attribute or talent, but be able to use elemental weapons or gear with different element types to it as well. Potentially, I mean, I was just thinking that maybe you're just all talented in nature, all talented in whatever red's going to be and whatever blue's going to be, which I'll talk about that in a bit. And then your gear, you can do different elements. Well, moving on, let us go back to here. All right. So earlier I was discussing this page, and I was just kind of, obviously the tree is really big. It really catches your eye right away. And then, as you are reading everything, something caught my eye here in this. I thought this was really interesting. And I'm sure some of you have already seen this as well. This figure right here, to me, looks like an ice wolf or an ice dog, almost like something was summoned. And you can tell that it kind of flows off the screen like it's been running and it's following this person, it's chasing this kid. What does that mean? Could we have a summoner class coming out? Maybe. I know there's a lot of, and I should be careful with this because summoner would be different from illusionist. Illusionist would be creating illusions, non um, non tangible items that fight. Um, but a summoner would actually summon creatures, summon um, animals, or anything that has a physical substance to it. And I thought that was really interesting. I'll zoom back in on this. That was just my initial thought. is what if we have a summoner class um, that, or summoner hero that can summon these things, especially if it's an ice elemental. You can summon uh, ice elemental. Um, this I thought potentially could have been a hidden secret by LSS that they like to put in their artwork sometimes. So that was just a thought. You can play around with that. Let's get off here. Let's go back. So here's the adult Lexi again. I'm actually going to go down in the young Lexi. Again, you can see this frost theme here. And let's take a look at where was it? Oh, already was on it. Okay. So earlier I was talking about the three what I think are the elemental attributes. Blue I think is going to be like a frost for ice. Green I think is going to be naturist, and then red I don't think it's going to be fire. I think it's going to be lightning. And I'll tell you why. And if we look at some of the areas here, this is Eisenloft. I'll just kind of zoom in here more. This is Eisenloft. Right away, you can just see this is a city of ice and frost. Definitely. I mean, there's snow, there's ice. I mean, 100%. Why would Eisenloft be here if the blue wasn't frost, right? If it wasn't ice. And that's what I get right away. The next picture is Volt Haven. I mean, obviously by the name, Volt is lightning attribute. You can see lightning down here all around the city. This looks really mountainous, but it still has that frost feeling. It still has, the snow here. We're still way up in the mountains, and there's still snow on here. But the city itself has that elemental attribute of the lightning. Something else I want to point out here. We're talking about the colors: the red, the green, blue. If you're looking at the northern lights in this picture, or what I call the northern, it is red, green, blue. Those are the only colors they have up here: red, green, and blue. And I thought that was interesting. It's definitely more telling of all these places are one big place potentially and share the same common elementals in the areas. So if we scroll down, and this is why I think it's lightning, to be honest. For red, we just have we have the lightning. You have Volt Haven, and that's why I think it's the red. We'll see more of that here in another picture. The third picture down is nature. Definitely nature. You lose the ice theme. You lose really the lightning theme. And this is Candlehold. I do love these crystals seeming to be floating trees here. I think that's pretty cool. But definitely a nature place for sure. Unfortunately, there's nothing really in here that I can tell that would tie this to the other elements right now, unless there's something that I'm missing here. Maybe it's just the crystals. This could be something. Again, I didn't read any of the lore, but this could be a city that's underneath the mountains, directly underneath the other places that we just looked at. So then we go back to Lake Frigid. Name says it all. Frigid place, cold, obviously ice, water that is frozen. Very beautiful art here. Again, and very mountain-esque. and looks very high as well to me. So again, that ice theme coming back. And then our next picture, again, going back to thunder. So it's ice, thunder, nature, ice, thunder, nature. Thunder step, obviously. Lightning. It's kind of red in color. You can kind of see it. It's kind of red. The landscape itself has this electrical attribute, elemental shape in the rocks. So I thought that was cool. This whole landscape here is just screaming elemental attribute, which is why I really think the red is really going to be a lightning element attribute. And then back to nature again. We have Mount Heroic, which, if this doesn't scream some sort of a guardian class coming out, who knows? I mean, Mount Heroic sounds pretty cool. Again, nature. You do not. You kind of see the wintry mountains the higher you get up, which could include the other places. Don't really see a city here at all, but definitely could be, what's above Candlehold here, potentially. But again, great artwork by the artists, great scenery artwork. Again, nature feel, this one. So that is how I came to the conclusion of the 3 elements. If we are doing element set, the elemental set would be lightning, ice, and nature. And then you can mix and match. Now let us close this. I'm going to leave this on here because I do like my pointer on. So let's open this up. So the hero deck box, 3 boxes, 3 heroes, so 9 boxes total, 3 of each hero. There's speculation on this. Is there 3 different heroes? I think we can be pretty confident to say there's definitely 3. Or is there 9? I'm thinking there's only 3. And then there's speculation that each box here is actually a different element attribute, or a flow attribute is what it's also been called. So that's very possible. I mean, we do see the different element here, which I actually literally just noticed. So this definitely has the different elements here. So it very well could be that is a sign that here's hero 1. This is, obviously there's snowflakes here. This is the frost element attribute. This is the nature attribute, and then this is the lightning attribute, or whatever. I mean, you can definitely, I just noticed those being different right there. And if you're with me, give me likes, because I'm so focused in the front here, totally didn't even see that. So awesome if you guys picked that out before I did. But again, let's zoom in here a little bit more. Obviously frost, ice, whatever you want to call this is definitely going to be an attribute or a talent. And then we have the viney, similar ring that that Lexi has around her, right here. So this is what I think nature. And then this kind of looks wavy to me, but I mean, to me, you could probably say that's just going to be like electrical or lightning attribute, but this is definitely viney. I mean, I think we're definitely going to see 3 heroes, And with the play on each one, I think each one's going to have, these primary attributes or primary elements. So we could have essentially a total of 3 heroes, but 9 different types. And I think draft wise, that would be super fun because then you're going to have like a nature ranger or whatever, and then be able to just build this wild and crazy fun element build. And if you play a mirror um, hero, the element attributes are probably not going to be the same. I think that would be super fun. But yeah, just seeing that to me, in my mind, confirms that this is probably 3 heroes, and each hero has a different primary element attribute. But then you can dive into secondary attributes for talents, or primary talent element, and then you can dive into secondaries due to the class naming, for sure. So that's really cool. I'm glad I saw that. Let's see here. Is there anything else that I can think of? Again, what do I think the hero classes are? I mean, we know Ranger for one. Oh, that reminds me. Let us look at that here. On the product sheet. I apologize. Yes. Okay. So here we get a good look at the booster packs here. So obviously they're only showing Lexi in the front here. But we do get a little bit of a glimpse of everything else. So here we have what looks like a leg and an arm, potentially like a frost, kind of a frosty, icy person with a little bit of like frost or mountains behind them, or ice, what looks like ice to me. So this, I wish this would zoom in clearer, but there's definitely something going on here. Let me see if I can pull this up a different way. What did I just save that as? Don't remember. I saved that as. Wait. Oh, CKOs sales sheet is what it's called. I am going to zoom in on this and see if it. Oh, it's even worse. Okay. Never mind there. So this is going to be the best zoom in we have here. So ice, I mean, the circles themselves are already there. So this is, this almost looks like that lightning attribute ring, which is actually different from, is it? So I can't really tell, because this ring is okay. That looks, yeah, that's definitely the lightning one. I could tell it's got like the single flares almost. Yeah, and this is the naturey one, so or the viney one. So obviously Lexi here, and then you have this frost person here. Kind of looks like a male figure to me. The leg looks like it's kind of bulky, but can't really tell. And then here you have the this nature-esque look as well. So maybe I have it backwards. Maybe this is the lightning ring and this is the nature one. Or they just threw something together just to throw us off. But definitely there's some sort of nature stuff going on here and on this booster pack, and ice on here. So ice and nature are definitely, I would say, confirmed in my opinion. And then you have this or nature or ice and earth, or probably just like nature and ice. And then you have this probably what I suspect would be lightning, but that's just based off of the other pictures that we saw earlier. But what heroes? I don't know. Maybe we're gonna have another Guardian class. I don't think we're gonna have a ninja. Unfortunately, there's speculation that maybe we'll have maybe like a bard, but I don't think this feels bardy to me. When I don't think the set screams bard to me. But who knows? I mean, the whole initially we're calling it kingdoms, and kingdoms could be what I speculated as the whole series for the next 4 sets that come out. And could we have one later? Yes, that's sure. But I don't think we're having a bard in this one. I think we're going to have some sort of wizard class for sure, which might be the nature. Probably be like a nature wizard, something like a green wizard or a shaman or something like that. And then I definitely think that we will probably have another guardian. I think that would be cool to see. And then of course we have the ranger. So that's my guesses for the set. This is everything that I have just looked at on here and just made some guesses and went with what I think. So if you agree with anything that I have, let me know. If you disagree or if you have your own ideas, definitely comment down. Let me know what you think. Again, there's another video on Kitchen Table TCG. I'll have the link down in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.